Kia ora, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock with news of a green twist in beggar-thy-neighbour economic policies. But first, in today's review of its policy settings, the US Federal Reserve has changed nothing. It did acknowledge the greatly improved economic prospects, and it said it wants to see inflation running ahead of its target 2% for some time before it makes any changes. And it gave no indication of any tapering of its bond purchases or QE support. Meanwhile, the US merchandise trade deficit swelled to $86 billion in March and far above the March 2020 deficit of $60 billion. But this one is on the back of fast rising exports, up 12%, and even faster rising imports, up 22% year on year. And the new Biden administration is to announce a $1.8 trillion program of new spending on safety net issues like childcare, education and paid leave, and extensions of some middle-class tax breaks. It wants to fund it with new taxes on about 500,000 uber-wealthy Americans. And Canada reported February retail sales, and those came in considerably better than were expected. Japan also reported good retail sales, their data being for March. Maybe there is a COVID basis factor here, but the result beat analysts' expectations. And in a shameless beggar-thy-neighbour policy, China is to lower taxes on steel imports and raise them on domestic producers. The aim is to increase steel imports so that China can reduce its emissions from industry that produces 15% of all China's greenhouse gases. This policy will push those emissions onto other countries. Changes were expected, but they're much more aggressive than were expected. In Australia, the CPI came in lower than expected in the March quarter, even if it was higher than the fourth quarter of 2020. And Australia has recorded a goods trade surplus above $8 billion, as imports and exports both increased 15% in March 2021. The US Treasury 10-year yield starts today at 1.62% and down 1 basis point overnight. And the price of gold starts today at $1,780 an ounce, and that's a $3 rise since this time yesterday. And oil prices are up $1.50 today at just under $64 a barrel in the US, while the international price is just under $67 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar opens today at 72.2 US cents and a small firming since this time yesterday, but at this level is at its highest since mid-March. Against the Australian dollar, we're up to 93.3 Australian cents, and that's its highest since early March. Against the euro, we're also slightly firmer at 60 euro cents. That means our trade weighted index is 74.2 and also a mid-March high. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.